I may be a bum, but I'm not dumb. It's time for Bum Knowledge Corner. Hello, YouTubers. I'm the Carbum, and today we are going to be talking about, ratings. Now, basically, on every YouTube channel that looks at anything at all, they're going to give it a rating. This thing's a 5 out of 10, or maybe they decide, yes, this thing is a 6 out of 10, or maybe a 7 out of 10. And in general, they give no context to what that means. It's like, oh yeah, I like this, but I'm going to give it this arbitrary number. And that they do give them arbitrary number. They're like, 1 out of 10, then this could be absolutely anything and everything, and it's starting to fall apart. Oh, here's a good one: 8 out of 10 cats. um, and the thing is that most YouTube channels and most reviewers review formats in general just don't really give actual meaning behind these numbers. Uh, we get the same kind of thing when it comes to tier lists. Like, okay, when it comes to tier lists, it's not usually like this is actually this good. It's usually I like this thing better than this thing. Therefore, I'm going to put it higher up on the thing, even though there's no tangible reason why. One of the few people that actually give solid reasoning on why is, yeah, there we go, is Shadiversity. They don't have like a set measure on their rating system. They did try to do something like that, but it kind of just fell apart because of what they thought was consistent was not consistent. Um, the Shadiversity, when they rate the swords that they get for reviews and stuff like that, they usually tell you it's because of like 3 or 4 criteria. I mean, usually how sharp the blade is, how the balance is, how it feels in the hand, the design of it, and other and sometimes price comes into it, and other times they don't care about price. It all depends on like exactly like if it's a super cheap like $50 sword, then they kind of give it a little bit more leeway. But in general, they don't try to take price the, into the setup, and they do. And even though they don't have like, we give 3 points for this, 3 points like, they don't have a methodology of saying, okay, sharpness is good, so we'll give it 2 points. 2 points out of 3 points on that. Give it 2 points out of three for comfort and control. Give they don't do it like that. They just like as an entire package. They um rate it, and but you still get some meaning behind it. And what I'm trying to do here is kind of bring up the idea of like a standardized way of rating something. A lot of things that people rate are video games. I'm not a big enough video game player, even though half of my channel is playing a video game. I'm not really into playing multiple video games, so I don't think I'm qualified for that type of way of thinking about it. But one thing I am somewhat qualified for of rating. And in general, I just think when people give ratings, they should give a ballpark of what the numbers mean. Like, not just, I'll give it a 5, but give some meaning behind the number. And so I decided to bring this up. This is kind of like a universal type of scale on how people should probably think about rating movies. I have it just like right here, but um this has like other stuff like that and that, but right now I'm just focusing on this because I do think this is important. When you say that you put a rating to something, I think it's very important that the rating actually has meaning behind it. Because some people will say, I give it a 4. And I'm like, it was that bad? Oh, no, I kind of liked it. Like, then why did you give it a 4? I just gave it a 4. It's like, no, that doesn't work. So, this is a new scale, as I call it, for the movie ratings. Because I think this is how people personally feel about movies when it comes to rating. Um, 10, obviously, you watch it on a regular basis. Maybe it's once a week, maybe it's once a month, maybe you watch it every day. But that's more or less what this is. Watch it every now and again. Maybe you watch it like once or twice a year, or just when you have the feeling to watch it. Maybe it's a seasonal movie and but you like it, but you don't feel like you should watch it at any other point. That's a 9. It's a nice solid spot. 8 for me is I'm willing to buy it. Mm, maybe that's a little high because people buy a lot of movies and then they don't actually like it. Um, or maybe I don't know. Willing to buy it, the willingness to buy it is kind of an interesting spot. But when you look at everything else underneath it, it is kind of higher than everything else, so it works. 7 is you're like um flipping through channels, or you're on YouTube video or video and movies, and you see it as like, hey, yeah, I see that, I like it, and you're like a slightly get a little shot of endorphin. It's like, yay, I found something cool on here. And the 6 is slightly the same, but just like with less enthusiasm. Like, oh, this is here. Okay, sure, why not? 5, you're just looking around and you're like, oh yeah, I have nothing better to watch, or anything else. Number 4, a rating of 4 is like you go into somebody's house, they have it on, or you go someplace, you sit down, and you're like, oh, what am I watching? Oh, it's this. Sure, why not? Type of thing. 3, if you have a choice, you're probably going to turn. Oh, I would rather watch nothing. There's something on, and you would just like, could you just turn that off? Is when it gets to more of an extreme, you're more will you would rather leave the room if you can't figure out how to change it. And of course, 1 is the worst, and it's just like the movie itself is a affront to your very being. Most people, when they see a movie, they're most movies actually get into the. I'm not going to say the numbers. Um, most of them are going to be between these two, and possibly even here. So a lot of movies are very center. Um, you know that there's like the Snyder people. Anything that's not Snyder is probably going to. Okay, but yeah, if you're a Snyder fan, anything DC that's not Snyder is probably going to be here. You might not leave the room, and you might still be friends with people. This also would probably go for, well, they don't really hate on other things as much as Snyder people do, but the live action Avatar is like they're hard set at probably one of these two. Me personally, uh, yeah, this is where the blue Avatar goes, is squarely in this center section here. Like I go to watch them in the theaters because I am a lover of the theater. Uh, but honestly, those movies are just not good. I am not happy if I come across them again. I will probably never buy it, and I will watch them only once. Now, there is a small caveat to this entire thing, is that there are movies where you will never watch it again, like ever. But you still, but it still might reach like this high. You still might give it a 9 or a 10. These are specific movies that you think are valuable and that people should watch, but either because it does a lot of emotional, like the emotional energy is just too much for you, or other things like that, you just can't watch it again. For me, one of those movies is Grave of the Fireflies. Beautiful movie, love the movie, will never watch it again. It's just too depressing for me. So, of course, I'm not going to, but I do feel like it is a 9. Like, I don't think I own it, but if I came across it and actually had money again, I'm currently not having really any money, I would buy it. I think the story is good, the animation is good, it's consistent, it has a good flow, but it's just too too sad for me. So it's one of the rare ones where I will probably never watch it ever again, except for maybe if I have someone that who I think should watch it. I'll watch it with them, but me personally, I will never watch it again. But it is still a 9 to me. So that's kind of like the only real caveat there, is that there are some movies that are just not great on rewatch. Like The Sixth Sense, yes, great to watch. Watch it every now and again. Yeah, that's probably where it would land if I had the time to do it. But on the first time watching, it's basically a 10. and kind of stays there for the second watch. But after that, when it comes to actually watching it, it probably falls down to a 7 real fast because, it a lot of it is the twist, a lot of it is so and everything else like that. But it's one of those movies that kind of depreciates pretty quickly. Like I am happy to see it if I come across it like, hey, that's a good movie. But but during the first two or three showings or viewings of it, it is probably more of a 9 or 10. Uh, uh and there are other movies too that kind of have like a shift, and this includes remakes and remasters and all those other type of stuff. Like this right here, Star Wars, episode 4, 5, and 6. The and specifically the ones from the 80s, 70s, and 80s. Remarkably, it falls somewhere in between these two, with the remasters that came out around 2000, I think it was. So the ones with all the weird CGI that got thrown into it, and the added scenes and all that other type of stuff. Added scenes are kind of cool, but especially when it came to Return of the Jedi, it 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 definitely hits the 7 area because of like that extended music scene in Jabba's hut, and that that was just weird. They took background characters and put them front and center, and it's just like it didn't work. It really did hurt the movie. And it's kind of sad because, I can't, like, this version does not exist in the public eye anymore. Like, people try to get this version, and George is just like, no, no one will ever see that version ever again. And like, come on, man. Uh, for me personally, I don't think I have any particular one that I've seen that would be a 1. Tens are much more likely to be with me than a 1 with me. So it is kind of skewed in that direction. There are a few 2s that I've seen. One of them being Meet the Spartans. I saw that in theaters, and I was like, it gets better, right? It doesn't. The humor is lacking, and that's the only thing it was working off of. So it was just like, it's one of the few movies that I'm just like, I wish I never saw that movie in my entire life. Uh, but yeah, so this is Me This Runs would be here. The Then it becomes a good handful for this one. Um, when it comes to these, you know, there's plenty to go in there. But yeah, these are just my short thoughts on this type of stuff. I think, but these are the reasons why, yeah, this stuff's not that important, but this stuff here does connect to it. I forgot about that. Uh, I will, um, But when it comes to movies, we go to watch it because it makes us feel enjoyment, sorrow, excitement, terror, hopefulness. Makes you think smart, complex, or strange, and you are, and it's representative of you by gender, ethnicity, beliefs, and culture. This is the type of things that can like skew why exactly you like these movies go up or down, and this is a lot of stuff to go with. There's the term chick flicks for a reason. It's more representative of that demographic, so they are obviously going to put it up a little bit higher. Some people like more strange movies, like myself. So obviously, if it is more strange, it is also going to be a little bit higher, as long as the strangeness actually works for the movie and not against the movie. And some people just like, this would be more for comedies, and this is more for thrillers, and this is it all depends on what you go into the movie trying to see. But yeah, so these are things that can affect how each individual person would put it in here. So if you wanted to do this, you would say, "Oh yeah, I find this movie as a level 7, and because I felt it was an exciting action thing that was complex, and touched on the themes of uh, themes." Yes, let's add that. Yeah, themes. Themes is all about how people in the movie thing, it's like themes would be political or environmental or something else like that. So that would also be in there. Now let's say that real fast. Boop. Um. So yeah, I just feel like that most people have no cognitive backing behind why they're picking the numbers that they do. So if I do have a rating for anything, it would probably be with something like this in mind. Maybe not this particular setup, depending on what I'm rating, but it's like, eh, but it's like, I want more of it, and I want it now. To, I can go with or without it, to leave now. um, so yeah, I'm the car bum. Now get off my corner.